Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Play MPE panel discussion on gospel music promotion and technology. My name's Sean, and I'll be the back-end moderator for today's panel. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our host, Terrance Howell.
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? I hope you all are doing well. I am very excited about this awesome gospel panel that we have for you guys today. It is concerning gospel music, promotions, and technology. This panel, awesome panel, was helped put together by Earl Bynum, Grammy nominated, Dove nominated, Stellar Award winning and Billboard charting artist Earl Bynum, who helped put this panel together along with Play MPE. And we are very excited about this panel. So we have some really awesome people that I want to introduce you guys to. And I want to start off with our first panelist is Miss Sheilah Belle, the founder and the creator of the Belle Report. Sheilah, we love your work. Just really quick, Sheilah has over 250,000 subscribers to the Belle Report. I believe it's over 380,000 that you reach.
We're right about there, yes.
Yes, and Sheilah reaches out to record labels. She reaches out to music subscribers and music program directors. Tell them a little bit about yourself, Sheilah.
Just what you said, reaching out to the independent, the national, the established artists, and those who are just trying to figure out what to do, where to go, who to connect to. That's exactly what we do through the Belle Report that comes out Monday through Fridays. It comes out twice a day, once late at night, because we found out through a survey, people like to get it late at night when they're taking their time right before they go to bed. And then we push it out right around 11 o'clock the next day. But we are that source where you go to when you want to find out what is going on in the gospel industry, what is going on with the latest news when it comes to gospel music, who's doing what, who's doing and where they're going, where are the concerts, how do we get on, how do we let people know about our music, how do we let people know about who you are, and all of that good stuff. That's what we do, and we just thank God for the vision that he gave us to push it out.
Awesome. And if people want to connect with you, how do they subscribe to your awesome report?
Oh, wow. To subscribe to the report, you can just go to our website, thebellreport.com, THEBELLE report.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at the Belle Report, THEBELLE report. And there we can answer any questions that you may have, how to advertise with us, how to get your press release on, how to get your music out there, how people can get in contact with you, how to book you, where to book you. And being a promoter myself, unfortunately, because of COVID-19, I've been somewhat limited on some of the activities that we normally do, but we do quite a few, and we are one of the hosts of one of the largest outdoor gospel concerts now on the East Coast. It's called the Gospel Music Fest with the Belle, and last year, it's just amazing, we celebrated 10 years. Who knew that this upcoming year that we would have been in the situation that we're in now? So we celebrated 10 years. We've had crowds up to 12,000 people who have come. And we're just so grateful that the people who have come, that we have given them an avenue and an opportunity and a platform to showcase their talents, their gifts. And when they come, we have a working relationship, because not only are they singing there and they're ministering to the people in their community, but also we push out that information through the Belle Report and all of our websites as well. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome. Sheilah is a wonderful person, has an awesome organization. So make sure that you all get connected to her Belle Report. Next, I would like to introduce you guys to the one and only Mike Chandler. He is the president of Rejoice Musical Soulfood, which services over 150 radio stations and radio networks within the United States. Don't want to get ahead of myself. It's going to be worldwide pretty soon. So, Mike, can you unmute yourself and tell people who you are and what you do?
Yes, we operate Rejoice Musical Soul Food Radio Network, and we are a content provider to radio stations across the country, as well as direct to consumers. So listeners can tune in to a radio station that we might be on across the country, or they can listen. We stream live. We have an app you can listen, and we just try to make a platform available to not just a large audience, the artists, but also the independent artists too. So we certainly serve up independent artists on the network.
Awesome, awesome. And how many states are you covering right now? Is your network covering, Mike?
Uh, well, we've got about a little over 150 radio station affiliates. So I have to take a look at that, what that translates in, where they're spread out. They're mostly, certainly there's a good deal of them there in the South and the Southeast, but we're across the country. We're in Peoria, Illinois, and certainly up in Virginia Beach area, up there in Richmond, where Sheilah Belle runs the
Yes.
city.
And Washington State, you can't forget Washington State as
Washington
well.
State too.
Yes.
Yeah, we're in Seattle. Seattle.
Yes.
So it's a good ride.
Awesome, awesome. And Mike has a number of fantastic programs on the show. As a matter of fact, one is the On Stage with Earl Bynum Music Showcase, which is amazing. Mike also puts on the Rejoice Musical Soul Food Festival annually, and is just a beautiful or packed out concert every single year. So we love the work that you guys do. And now we're going to introduce none other than Tamar Rand of RCA Inspiration. Come on in, Tamar.
Hey.
How's it going? So Tamar Rand, let me tell you a little bit about Tamar. Tamar is in charge of promo and marketing of RCA Inspiration. All right, she's been behind some of the biggest songs of some of your favorite gospel music out there, such as Marvin Sapp's "Never Would Have Made It." I believe your label also has Kirk Franklin and other heavy hitters in the industry. So tell people about yourself, Tamar, and what you do.
So I oversee the radio promotions department, which we, like you said, we've worked with some of the top names, and we also work with developing artists as well, which is definitely a blessing. My heart really is with starting off new artists and watching them grow. But also I love to work with the vets as well, because, I can still learn a lot from them too. But like I said, it's been a pleasure. I work with Mike. I'm always calling and bugging him to add our records on radio. Sheilah Belle, I read the Belle report like every day, comes through my inbox. But yeah, me and my team, Kathy Carroll, we handle the country as far as like pushing our priority records up the charts.
Awesome, awesome. And who are some of the artists that you have the pleasure of working with?
Corinne Hawthorne, we're working with her, and she has new music coming up pretty soon. Travis Green, Molly Music, Kirk Franklin, Donnie McClurkin, Hezekiah Walker, all the artists that are on RCA Inspiration, we handle.
Awesome, love it. And how can people connect with RCA Inspiration to find out more about your awesome artists and what you guys have coming down the pipe?
We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. So just go to RCA Inspiration and you'll find out.
Awesome. Thank you, Tamar. So we're just so excited about this opportunity that Play MPE has given us. I've been doing promo over on the CCM side as well. And I know that on the CCM side, that Play MPE is pretty much the standard. Like all across the board, this is what is used for music promotions, going out to radio. Is a one-stop shop to service all of your music needs. So coming over onto the gospel side, I discovered, that there are so many different variations of how music is submitted. And I just want to talk to you guys and start the panel off about how a company like Play MPE helps to service what you do. And starting out with Sheilah, who's an awesome VIP, some of the content that you get in, some of the content that you see. How has Play MPE has worked for your organization so far?
Well, I will never forget the initial conversation that we had when you called me up and you said, this is going to be like Christmas for you. And when I finally figured out what was really going on, it was like Christmas for me, because my relationships with the different record labels and artists and managers and booking folks and people and the independent artists who are contacting me, they're saying, hey, we work together. We try to push out their information. But there are a lot of artists and independent artists that are just brand new that I don't know about. And many of them have great music. They've got great content, and you don't know where to go. So when you introduced me to MPE and everything that was going on with it, I said, well, wait a minute, this is pretty cool. And to finally actually get to the site and to have access to not only just see the graphics of everything, but to hear the music, to download everything, to have access to everything. And it was easy to maneuver. It was really good. It was very helpful anytime that I wanted to get it. And it's in real time. So when I send out my report at night and around noon the following day, and I want to make sure that I'm on top, not only with information that the record labels have sent me or relationships that I have with artists who are trying to figure out what to do, where to go, because in the world that we're living in now, it doesn't cost a lot of money like it used to back in the day. And even more so with what's going on, people don't have that type of money to spend. So we want to figure out how to work with artists to make it feasible, to make it comfortable. And when you do that, and when you treat people with an understanding, they will come back to you. And it really creates a longevity in that relationship. So with what I do on top of what you guys are giving me, yes, it's like Christmas every day. It really, really is.
Awesome, awesome. And I know for Mike Chandler, who's a very, very busy guy, Mike has a lot going on. He's overseas, as you heard, over 150 radio networks, literally all around the United States. So, Mike, how is a company, organization like Play MPE, how does that help assist you in the multiple jobs that you have with Rejoice Musical Soul Food?
Yeah, it helps us tremendously. Anytime that you have something that you have immediate access, it helps you to be a whole lot more efficient than it was in the past. I mean, even when and it wasn't that long ago, but yeah, we used to get CDs in the mail. And I know it's going to sound so trivial, but you got to open up the package. You got to take the stuff off. You got to cut the little piece of tape thing off. You got to take it out. You got to put it into the CD player, and then you got to do your thing. Well, with digital delivery systems like MPE and others, it's immediate. So instead of us being able to go through, say, maybe 10 artists a day, if we really needed to, because it's immediate, we could do 20 if need be. So it helps us become a whole lot more efficient because of the immediacy of it.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. And now moving to you, Tamar, you have all of this awesome music that you're trying to get into the hands of people like Mike and Sheilah, and with Play MPE, it allows you to be able to release music simultaneously. Everyone gets it at the same time, and I know that's big in the world of promo. When we send something out, we like for everyone to get it right then and there. So tell me how Play MPE assists you in the work that you do over at RCA.
It's definitely easy just on our end because we're able to send over, graphics, a WAV file, MP3 file, and not like clog up Mike's inbox or Sheilah's inbox. It's easier for everybody to just get the assets that they need, and like you said, it's immediate. So it's easy. It's definitely easy on our end, just to upload everything and send out the nice e-card that goes out with Play MPE.
I love it. I love it. And Mike hit on something that I thought was awesome that we're going to segue into right now. Mike mentioned, wasn't that long ago when you get a CD sent to you, you have to open up the package. And that's exactly what I want to talk about, of, you know, how efficient this type of network, you know, how it just makes everything so much better. You know, just how technology is involved and where it's going to now. You know, people, you don't need those CDs anymore. They're pretty much obsolete these days. So just hearing from you guys of how is technology has changed over the last decade or a few last couple of years, that you've noticed a trend of where technology is going in the music world, in the music industry.
I think
Sheilah,
it's
you
a
can start.
balancing act. I think it's a balancing act because when I think about what Tamar just said, when we were looking at the CDs that were coming out, and then you've got the MP3s that's coming to you, and someone actually just sent me an email the other day. There was an 11 megabyte, and it was a 9 megabyte, and I'm like,
Wow.
come on, guys! It's like, you know, and you look at situations like that. When you think about MPE and what you guys have, you just go to the site. It's a lot easier. But when I think about technology today and where we were, I have to remember it is a balancing act because there are the people like ourselves who are in the industry and we appreciate it. But then you got some of your old school people who still have not caught up. And you just can't throw them out the window and say, well, catch up real quick, because some of them are still on an old computer that takes maybe 20 minutes to warm up before they get there. So you want to be considerate of them. And some of them still listen to a few of the CDs. But for the most part, where we are, I really believe that when someone sends over that bio and when they send over the link, or when you can go to MPE and it's right there, it makes things a lot easier. You can reach so many more people. And if it's a mistake, you can go back real quick and clean it up before you send out something like that. But you reach so many more people, but you have to be a little bit more creative. You've got to be a little bit more fluid with your conversation on what you're doing and who you're talking to. And you've got to be more responsible because everything is real time. Even what we're doing now, I mean, people are looking at if you're sitting up, what your hair looks like, what your teeth look like, you know, all the good stuff like that, because people are more judgmental because they can. So when we put ourselves out there in front of people like that, think about what the artists are doing when they put themselves out there, when they're on Instagram, when they're on social media, and when they are so transparent about their lives. Even I think I saw Lexi the other day, and she was doing her makeup on Instagram. I mean, live, and talking about how to put this on and how to put the wig on and how to put the stuff on. But people appreciate that. People really want folks to be themselves. They want you to be honest and they want you to be transparent, because where we are today, that's what we need.
That's awesome. That's good, Sheilah. Thank you so much.
Opinion.
That's amazing. Amazing. Mike, what about you?
As far as how technology continues to impact, one of the things that I have certainly noticed over the years that we in the gospel industry, we will eventually catch up. We will do that, but it is years down the road as far as embracing technology. And it's going to change a bit more, I think, in the future. But the more we do, the more people embrace technology, the quicker this industry is going to begin to just blossom and show some incredible talent out there.
I love it. I love it. What about you, Tamar?
Oh, I remember packing up CDs. Like, we had an assembly line going to pack up CDs and send them out. So definitely, you know, on the label side, it's you know, the MP3 WAV files. It's definitely a welcome, because we've saved so much time. I mean, and still, like, if I have a station that, you know, needs the CD, like, I would burn it at my desk and mail it out, you know.
That's right.
And you know, like, it's coming. You know, we have to depend on the mailman to you know, deliver the CD, and depending upon which part of the country, like, the turnaround time was, like, you know, up to a week before somebody would actually receive the, you know, single or whatnot. But we still do get requests for CDs. I just had one today, but unfortunately, just because with COVID, like, I'm not in the office to send out products. So it's definitely changed over the years.
Terrance, if I
Yeah.
can jump in real quick though.
Sure.
Someone said if
Absolutely.
you want to keep up with technology today, follow what the car makers are doing. Because when you look at what's going on in the cars, it will really give you a direction of what we're doing. And some of the cars now that's coming out with 2020, they don't even have CD players. You have
It's
to
true.
go through satellite. And if you go through the satellite, you can see what's going on. But if you want to keep it with technology, get one of those magazines that will keep you up to date with where the music is being played and who's listening to it. But if you follow what the cars are doing, that will really give you a guideline.
That's so good. That's so good. Thank you, Sheilah, for sharing that. You're absolutely right. And I want to let everyone know who's watching right now that if you have any questions whatsoever, please submit those questions to any of our panelists. You can do it in the Q&A form in the section up at the top. So we thank you all for just tuning in. So me personally, I just feel that Play MPE should become the standard, for music submission over on the gospel side, as such as it is with secular, such as it is with on the CCM side as well. I know that for my business, especially now during COVID, where we're in, everyone is quarantined, everyone is working remotely, having a company, having a service that's a one-stop shop when we release something, and when I love the continuity that we have with it, when it drops, everyone gets it at the exact same time. So Sheilah will get it. Mike will get it. Tamar is able to check it out and see what it was that we released. And it just allows for us to be able to track better, to reach out to Mike and say, hey, Mike, you listened to this song a couple of times, what do you think about it? And trying to get more spins that way. So how do you all feel about the gospel market? Is it ready to make that leap from the more traditional promotional strategies over to a company like Play MPE that can service their needs?
Anybody who wants to advance and continue to keep up with technology, of course, because it's an easy out. It's an easy place to go to. And like you said, it's a place where you can go where there's a catalog of different artists, independent, national, people who are just pushing out their music. And when they go there, they have it all. When they want to push it out, they come to me. When they want to get it on the radio, they go to Mike. When they want their verification and certification, they go to Tamar. We're the one-stop shop. Am I right?
That's right. That's good.
But you know what? Listen, anytime one of the things we've got to do, we've got to access and utilize the tools that are available to us. And in the absence of 10 million people helping you with whatever that project you are, whether you're a producer, a singer, a writer, a record label, or whoever you are, if you could use the most of the tools that's available for whatever you're doing, you can really accomplish some real stuff. So Play MPE, and there's other tools out there. I remember, man, when folks started getting copies of Pro Tools, everybody and their brother and their
Yes.
mother had a
Yes.
studio in their mama's basement, right? But that was a tool that allowed a lot of people to become more efficient at doing what they were going to do. So I say, let's do it. As many tools as you can find. And as a matter of fact, I think that one of the things, if you're going to be whatever industry you're in, find out what's going on. I mean, you just can't go through life with blinders on. If you're in this industry and you're not reading some type of trade magazine every day, like the Belle Report or Radio Inc. magazine or All Access or something like that, you're missing the train because we don't see what's going on around us. And that's a tool. So I say we've got to use the tools that are available.
Amen.
Love it. Love it. Tamar?
Oh, I agree with both Sheilah and Mike. But I also think we have to be patient, and it's a process for some of our other, program directors. So I think as long as we are committed to helping the industry as a whole to move forward into like a Play MPE, I think it'll definitely be beneficial for everyone.
Awesome. I love it. Great answer. So let's move over to the Q&A. We have a couple of questions, and let's start. I have a song and music video titled Jesus Was a Person of Color, which is very timely right now. Sheilah has already included it in one of her reports. How do I make this song blow up? This question is for all of you. Roger Campo.
Well, I've already done my part. Mike, Tamar.
Yeah, you definitely need Mike.
I want to say, if you really believe that you have something there, you got a good song, don't let it just wither away on the vine. One of the things that really, really just amazes me is that you'll have an artist. They'll pay for musicians, they'll pay for studio time, they'll pay for production, they'll pay for the artwork. And once they get that finished product, it's like they want to keep it a secret. Zero marketing.
What is that? Right. What is that, Mike?
I don't know. It is so crazy.
So
Well, I guess probably shouldn't say crazy, but you have to. You have to. I mean, this is not rocket science here. So always set aside. I want to say this to any independent artist, anybody out there trying to do anything. If you have a project and you really believe that it's decent and you think radio should play it and you think people should download it, put some money into marketing so you'll let the folk know about it. You better believe Tamar, she's got all that money over there, and they spend all that money on marketing. So if folk like Tamar is spending godzillion dollars on marketing, something must be to it.
Mike.
I needed to hear that too. Tamar, you know I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you real quick.
No, but right, you have to spend money on marketing, right, Tamar?
Yes, you do. And I also recommend, like, especially with independent artists, I would definitely seek and look for an independent radio promoter, because they have the relationships to the outlets that you're trying to reach. So I would definitely seek after an experienced independent radio promoter to help, which costs money.
Which it does. Which it does. Absolutely.
It's a good product.
Our work is not free. So.
But let me say this about radio promoters. Let me tell you something.
And tell them, because if you don't, I will.
No, there's good ones, and there's some in between. There's some, not so great. But let me tell you.
So, Mike, I'm your favorite one, right? I'm your favorite one, right? I'm your favorite radio
you're not
promoter.
My favorite.
No, Taylor.
No.
Wow. But from a practical standpoint, radio, a lot of these folk, they've developed relationships over the years where they can call and the person that's actually going to answer the phone. And it's not that our program directors don't want to answer the phone or anything like that, especially in nowadays, man. There's been so many reductions and folk, and everybody's got like 12 jobs. I don't care whether it's in the music industry, in the record label side of it, and what Sheilah does. Everybody is doing 10 million things. But when you have that record promoter who's already has that relationship, even if that person is busy, and they're going to be busy, they will still pick it up. So I want to suggest, and then the reason why program directors really love record promoters is that you can talk to them about 7 different artists in that one phone call, as opposed to phone calls. I'm serious.
That's true.
Right. Big ups to record promoters.
Thank you. And big up to you, Tamar, and all the work that you do.
and Tamar she will quietly, when you get a threat, it's not verbal. It's not verbal all the time, but you kind of feel it, Yeah. Those kind of record folk, those are the ones that really get your attention.
But it's also like we've established relationships. Like, I've been doing this since 2003. So I remember, like, when I first started, like, people wouldn't answer the phone for me. Like, it took years to build the relationship. So it's definitely important to have an experienced, a radio promoter to help you along the way. Just to help open those doors.
Absolutely. And that was another topic that I was going to get into. When you're on Play MPE and you're utilizing the service like Play MPE, it doesn't mean that you don't rely on the other facets of the business that you're going to need, such as radio promotions and marketing and all of that. The strategy still has to be put together, and it's just Play MPE is an essential part of the pie. And I've had a few radio program directors who would if it's an artist calling them to promote their own song, they are done. They're off the phone and they're off doing something else. Yes, but if it's a promoter calling on behalf of the artist, or if it's a record label company calling on behalf of the artist, they like to listen more because it shows that the artist has representation versus the artist calling and just talking about themselves. So what is your opinion on that, Mike? Would you rather have a call to initiate from an artist that you know of, or would you rather have a representative calling on behalf of that artist?
No, certainly a representative, really. Because if you're talking about airplay, which is I would think is why they would be calling me, I really want to be able to get through that process as efficiently as I possibly can. And I keep talking about that, but I'm serious. Everybody's got like 15 jobs out here. So if you can really become efficient, then fine. So I would rather talk to a record representative or promoter any day than the artist. And not only that, because over years you will eventually create those relationships. You don't have to keep establishing relationships with millions and millions of folks.
So good. So good. Thank you so much. We have another question that just came in. They're really rolling in. So let's pick one. We have from an anonymous attendee. What are the 2 or 3 areas to focus on with a new gospel album and single for marketing and promotions? I'll let Tamar and Sheilah take this one.
Go ahead, Tamar.
I mean, the number one focus is the music. Like you have to have great music to be heard. Your social media platforms are definitely important. I think you need to, make sure you build up your followers on Instagram, Facebook. I know TikTok is the new thing out now, and YouTube. So it's definitely you just have to build your brand.
I think also you have to be able to sing, because a lot of people are still pushing out music because this is something that they've always wanted to do, but it may not necessarily be their calling. And like they said, maybe you may touch one person in the room, but you got to figure out exactly where is it that God has actually called you to go. What actually is the thing that God says, this is what I have ordained you to do. And sometimes we are going in one direction where our ministry could actually be impacting somebody in another direction. So if you want to sing, great, but I just pray that you definitely can sing. And when you're singing, make sure that you have a relationship with God so you can connect with the people. We have to get away from not necessarily entertaining the people, but if we're going to be about ministry, we want to definitely change people's lives through what they're hearing. And we want to make sure that when we're singing about something, that we've prayed about it, that we've talked to God about it, and this is something that God has given us, that he says, this is the song that I want you to sing. This is the song that will connect with people. When I felt that song on the radio, it made me feel something. And there's a difference when you are reviewing music, and I review a lot of music. And what's so interesting about when you have a song that's being played, when I used to play it with the CDs, it's okay. But when you would play it, there's a difference when you would review this song and you would work. Or when you hear the song playing, you kept looking back at the player like, who is that? Who is that? And there's that difference about you want to know who it is, who's singing. What is it about this music that makes me feel that sha-na-na all the way down in my sha-na-na versus somebody's just pushing out some music and there's no connection here. When you have really prayed about it, and when you know that it is from God and has been ordained from God and it will touch the people, you won't have any problems with it. God will just lead you and order your steps.
That's good, Sheilah. Great. That's great information. And I would also like to to chime into this on the business side of things. You will have a program director such as Mike, and Mike will probably have about 2 slots that he's able to fill in that month, and you have Tamar with about 15 to 20 or 50 heavy hitters that she's trying to plug all of those spots in. So trying to fill those voids in with her artists as well. So if you have music out there, your music has to connect. So radio has a couple of thresholds that you have to cross. I know, like over on the CCM side, if it's anything over 4 minutes, that's a red flag. Okay, program directors, they're running away from that. If it seats over 4 minutes, and then also you want to make sure that the production quality, that the sound is really resonating, that is modern, that you're in the 21st century. There are some projects that I've heard that didn't sound like that they were recorded, in this decade of the 21st century. It was more retro feeling. So you have to make sure that you're aiming for your audience that these radio program directors guard. So Mike isn't going to ruin his reputation by taking a chance on something that he know that his consumers aren't going to like. So Mike wants to play songs that resonate. Am I right, Mike?
Well, absolutely. And to take it one step further, you really have to focus on the whole project. And Sheilah's right. You got to be able to sing. But then we have some singers who also believe that they're producers. And that same singer who thinks that he or she is a producer too is I'm a writer too. So then they're the talent, they're the producer, they're the writer, and they might even know keyboards or a wind instrument. They'll throw down and be one of the musicians. What we have to do is understand that nobody is good at everything. And one of the things I always remind, I'm not going to go too deep, but one of the things that stuck out to me when I saw the Berry Gordy story, and is that we found, read about Motown over the years, and they also did the same thing in Philadelphia. They had writing teams, and all they did was write, and they were good at it. They were really good at it. And they had musicians, studio musicians. Tamar, y'all got all that money over there, and they were really good because that's what they did. They got the best ones. But now a lot of times we want to do everything, and that's why sometimes I get stuff that comes across my desk, and I go, "Yeah, they did this themselves." Them and then their cousin Pookie, and maybe their aunt, and they did that themselves. So what we got to do, it's about excellence. It's just
Right.
Tamar, her roster is like these big stars, and they put money behind the recordings. And so you know what? If you're going to compare yourself, it's not to another independent artist out there. It's to Donnie McClurkin. That's who you're comparing the quality of your craft to, or Kirk Franklin, or Tina Campbell or somebody like that. So we have to pay attention to quality. Get the best.
What you just said is gold. As a matter of fact, one of my dearest friends and my mentor over on the CCM side, Chris Hauser, who pushes records for Lauren Daigle and some of the biggest, and I'm sure Tamar knows him as well. Chris is amazing. What Chris says is that the song has to be competitive because it's going to compete. You're competing against, these awesome artists that Tamar has at her disposal. This is the sound that you're competing against. And if your music and your song does not compete, then it's not going to see the light of day. So it has to be competitive in a and we know that there is no competition in the kingdom of God, but when you're dealing with having your song heard from someone who is an independent, someone who's an independent artist that no one has heard of, and they're just finishing, a song by Tamar's roster with Hezekiah and Kirk. You're listening to all of these awesome artists, and then you put in an independent artist who's what you just said, Mike, that the sound doesn't measure up, and if it doesn't measure up, the artwork doesn't measure up, then that song is not going to get the proper treatment as though some of the major artists would. Would you all agree with that?
I would. If I could also chime in, also, I'm on Praise 104.7 between 10 and 3. We play gospel music 24/7. And everything that you guys are talking about, I see it right in front of me. And just think within 1 hour, you've got your heavy hitters that's trying to get in there, and they've got new music coming out. Kirk's got new music. Kiara Shear has new music. Travis Green has new music. I mean, all the cats have new music coming out. And here comes the brand new independent artists who can sing their hiney off. How do they get in there? I mean, and this is a challenge for many of the up and coming independent artists. However, you've got weekend spots. You've got places on the gospel radio stations' websites. You've got places where you can have your music showcased. So if you look hard enough, even with the radio stations that are out here, there are always different avenues that they will give you where they can showcase your music on a website, maybe on the weekend, maybe on a special report, maybe a special event. But if you're hungry enough, you will keep looking.
That's good. That's good. Do you want to add something to that, Tamar, Mike?
Yeah, there are great independent artists that are out here, and the music quality is great as well. But the other thing is that it takes time, and I think sometimes people may get just fatigued in the time that it takes to, properly set up and work a record at radio.
How long? How much time?
It can take. I mean, it could take.
People need to hear it. That's why I'm asking.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, honestly, it could take like 6 to 8 months for a song to like truly peak at radio.
You mean to tell me I can put my song out and then and as anointed as my song is, every station is not going to play it? What are you talking about?
That's good.
He told me that's a good record. 8 months, please.
Sometimes it takes longer than that, but you know what? God is going to make sure that once the music gets out there, that He can trust you with it. Because everybody's singing about heaven, ain't going. Okay.
That's awesome. I have another question here. Let's go to this question. What are key ways labels and artists can increase their visibility and build those important connections and contacts in the gospel market?
Advertise on the Belle Report.
Yeah, 380,000 subscribers. There you go.
Boom. I do think if you
invest in yourself.
You do have to invest in yourself and take advantage of social media. There's so many outlets where you can go. Instagram is hot. TikTok is hot. A lot of these young kids are on Snapchat. It's hot. Facebook, even though young folks are not there, the older people who give the money to the younger people, they are looking as well. But take advantage of social media, because this is where a lot of people are going, just to find out, what are you doing? Are you cool? Are you happening? Who are you connected with? Are you giving other people love? Are you showcasing other people on your social media page, or is it all about you? People look at stuff like that.
That's good. That's good. Mike?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to use everything that's around you. And Sheilah is right. Social media, it may take you some time, but as far as the cost associated with it is pretty efficient way to go. And use advertise in the Belle Report, other trade magazines, as far as your money will let you, not spend it foolishly, but certainly be able to be serious about getting your brand out there.
Hey, I'm going to jump in here one more time, too, because when you think about social media, think about the times that you're putting your stuff up. Because when you think about, if you're in the bed late at night, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, you put this great video up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, there are not a lot of people out there at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. But if you think about 10 o'clock in the morning, if you think about right after lunch, if you think about when people get off from work about 6 or 7 o'clock, those are your really hot peak times when people on social media. And you don't want to be sending out stuff on social media all day long, or sending out emails all day long, because eventually people will unfollow, or they will just hit the delete button. You don't want to inundate people, but set up a time where people will know around this time where you will put something out, where people can know that it's consistent. Make sure that it's entertaining. Make sure that it's positive, that it's uplifting, but that people won't mind looking at it. Make sure that the visuals are good, your graphics are good, and make sure that the picture is clear. Don't put up a halfway looking picture knowing that it look kind of funky, but you want people to overlook it because you look good in the picture and everybody else looks crazy, but it's all about you. So just something to think about.
That's good. Tamar?
I would say like find allies within the gospel industry, because they will help, they have the keys to the kingdom essentially, and so the more people that you're able to help rally around you and support you, the better your chances are of just kind of breaking through a lot of the other music that's out.
That's good. That's so good. Love it. So great. So now I have another question. And if you've never heard of an artist before, what would make you take that brand new artist seriously? And I think we just hit on a lot of those key points that Sheilah just
I have
mentioned. But
seen
if you want to
different
add some more.
artists on social media, and sometimes something like Tamar is talking about, you'll see an artist who will introduce someone who we've never seen before, and we'll say, where did this little boy come from? Someone who's starting to make an impact is JoJo Clark. He's with the group Resound. He's out of Richmond, Virginia, and he comes out of St. Paul's Baptist Church. He's now at the Mount down in the Hampton Roads area. He has sung background for Lauren Dingle. And he was recently on some talk shows in the mornings, but he is now doing some stuff with not only his group, but another little girl who's his niece. But there are other people in the gospel industry who have actually heard him sing. They've heard him perform, and they have been commenting on his social media page, not only likes, but with comments, encouraging him and just giving him those accolades. So exactly what Tamar is talking about, when you have people rallying around you, supporting you, just giving you compliments, people are going to do a second look and say, well, what's the big deal? And when you stop to hear this person sing, you say, I get it. I get it now.
That's so good. I know that we represent a well-known independent artist, Earl Bynum. Actually, is with Ty Scott on this project that we have, Safe in His Arms. But also, as Tamar mentioned, where you can bring other people along, talking about you as an artist and what you do, like the endorsements that we got for his song "Safe in His Arms" from Dr. Bobby Jones, Dr. Teresa Hairston, and we included that in our Play MPE electronic press kit. So everyone can see, when you pull it up, you can see that ringing endorsement from Dr. Bobby Jones and Dr. Teresa Hairston. So, using those connections, I believe also will just help take it just to another level. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're impressing people like Mike and Sheilah. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that you are getting across to them in a very efficient way. Would you agree, Tamar?
Oh, I definitely agree. And Mike tells me no sometimes. I don't want everybody to think that.
So hold on, wait a minute. If you tell her no, tell me yes. I have a few steps.
That's funny.
Listen, I told y'all that she threatens me on a regular basis. So I've gotten to where I listen for the pitch of her voice, the pitch of her voice. And if it's in that Mr. Charlie mode, nah, I just said, listen, I'm going to play everything for you today. And she will.
So before we get to the conclusion of this panel, Tamar, can you tell us about some of the experiences that you have had with Play MPE in submitting music through Play MPE, using their services, and what kind of feedback did you get from utilizing the service?
So when I've used Play MPE, like I said, it's really easy on the label side to use it. I can send over my copy and the music files, and Play MPE will send me back a document to proof, and then they'll send the e-card out to all the stations. So it's a seamless process on the label side.
Love it. Love it. And Mike, I've seen you on Play MPE, checking out different songs. And
Are you spying on me?
maybe just a little bit, Mike, just paying attention to, to
Wow.
what's catching your attention. So what are you looking for when music is submitted on Play MPE, and how do you utilize the services for your 150 plus networks?
Yeah, like I said, the immediacy of it is you know what's important for me. It's easy, the easiest you can make it, and also give me the opportunity to choose what kind of file that I want to use at the radio station. For we transitioned from CDs to MP3s, and now that's transitioning again back to WAV files, which sound better than MP3s. So give me something that I can choose and have access to what I need.
I love it. And now you're introducing us to one of our last topics, MP3s versus WAV files. We know that there are still many stations out there, especially on the gospel side, that will utilize MP3s or CDs. But what makes a WAV file superior in quality versus an MP3 file for the purpose of radio?
Well, I don't know if I shared this with you guys. I'm really an engineer. That is my background.
Exactly.
And so I look at it from a technical standpoint. The file is much truer to the original sound, wave. MP3 is a compressed file. And by compressing it, it just makes it, you have to leave out something. I mean, you just cannot have something that was huge and make it that size and not lose something. So what happens when you compress an audio sound like that, if you played an MP3 and a WAV file back to back, just switch back to back, you'll hear it right away, because the WAV file is going to sound brighter, clearer, the bass is going to be better, just the overall quality of the sound is going to be there. And there are a lot of radio stations that are transitioning to that. And what drove that was HD radio and online too. And you can actually hear it. If you listen to an HD FM station and they play a WAV file back to back with an MP3 file, if you really pay attention to audio, you can actually hear it. So the proliferation of HD station is driving this move back to the much better sounding wave. But of course, the wave file is much, much, much bigger than the MP3. But I think that I would sacrifice space, storage space. I wouldn't sacrifice that for quality. So that's what we do. We accept MP3s. We won't turn them away. But if I have my choice, and Tamar tell you, I say, listen, do you have a wave version of this song? And especially if we're going to play it for a long time, I want it to sound as best as I can.
That's good. And Tamar, I know for you, as submitting music, Play MPE is they utilize the WAV format. So can you tell us a little bit about that on your end?
Yes, I mean, just to Mike's point, the WAV file, the sound quality is so much better than the MP3. But just on our end, like emailing out a WAV file is literally, almost impossible. So we've had to utilize some other services, but I think Play MPE is definitely the better service to use, just because we can have everything all in one. It's a one-stop shop.
Awesome. What about you, Sheilah?
I'm in agreement with everyone, exactly what they're saying. And I love the fact that when you go to MPE and when I'm pushing information out through the Belle report, I just have to push up a link and they have it. Nice and clean, easy to get to.
Beautiful. And I know on the production side of which we also do in our company, we put everything in WAV because it is, as Mike stated, is just much cleaner, it's much clearer, and it's closer, just to that original, beautiful format versus MP3, which is much more compressed. So it's really, really good. We have another from my mentor. This is Chris Hauser, as I just mentioned before, who's worked on Lauren Daigle, Natalie Grant's some of their biggest hits. Chris stated, seriously, this has been so good. I can listen to Sheilah all day. Tamar's smile is beautiful. She's obviously a fighter for staying in the indie biz for so long. And Mike's sense of humor is wonderful. So awesome. We thank you, Chris. We love you, man. We love you so much. Thank you for all that you do. This has just been a pleasure, just connecting with you all and Play MPE, just giving us this opportunity to talk about what we love so much, music. We're all here because of music. Music has brought us here together, and hopefully this panel has blessed the listeners out there, people who are watching this. Maybe they've learned a little bit more and can go a little bit further. So before we sign off, we're going to have some closing words, closing statements from you, Sheilah, Belle.
I just believe that we have to continue to hold fast to our dreams, because if dreams die, life is like a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Keep on pushing and holding on to those dreams. Continue to pray for God to lead you with the ministry that you have. And if you have additional questions where you'd like to get in contact with me, you can reach me on my Instagram page at the Belle Report. THEBELLE report, and just DM me, and whatever you need help with, I'll be happy to help you out with. But I will say, being on Praise 104.7, it is a humbling honor to sit in that seat when you think about how the industry has changed so much and how people have lost jobs and people are just out there just trying to do the best that they can. So I do take what God has allowed me to have, Praise 104.7, the business that I have with the Belle Report, and all that God has allowed me to have, for all of that to be woven together. I am just grateful to God for each day that he gives me to continue this, to push out his word, to push out his music, and to be a mouthpiece for him.
Awesome. And Mike?
I say, whatever your dream is, I'm with Sheilah. Do it. I mean, do it. There's so many of us, we missed our boat because we get afraid. And that fear is something else. It is amazing what fear will stop you from doing. And a lot of times it's unnecessary fear, stuff that we just make up in our minds. But if you're going to go for it, it's going to be scary. If that fear is there, I say walk through it and just think big and then go big.
Amen.
That's good. That's so good. And as Micah said, we have to kind of speed this up because Tamar has a lot of money that she needs to finish counting. So
no, I just have 2 boys that I need to pick up shortly, so I don't get a late fee from the daycare.
So Tamar, what would you like to say?
I'm, like, I never would have thought, like, almost 20 years ago that I would be sitting in the seat that I am. And, I'm just a girl from Louisville, Kentucky. So if I can do it, anybody else can do it. I love gospel music. I love that I can go to sleep at night knowing that the music that I'm promoting and pushing is lifting up people and inspiring them, especially in a time, like this, between COVID and racial tensions. Like, I believe in gospel music. I believe in the power of it. And I'm just saying, like, hey, let's do it.
Awesome. That's beautiful. And I'm Terrance Howell of Revival Music Company, president of Revival Music Company. Feel free to reach out to us at www.revivalmusiccompany, all spelled out.com, or you can email me at Terrance, and that's 2 R's and an A, at revivalmusiccompany.com. It was a pleasure doing this panel with you all. God bless you all, and you all have a wonderful week. Blessings.